All right, so everyone's here. The party's on. Thanks for the follow. That's really appreciated. So what do we have here? Well, if you remember last time, I was actually like a little bit teasing my next character for the Archangel series, and I started to model on this character here, which is the second Archangel, Raphael. Uh, no H's, Raphael. There we go. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be working on. I'm actually working on the wings, so it's going to be an interesting process because it's not going to be like a human shape, right? Plus, I'm working on the wings in a weird way. So just to go around the character a little bit, just to show the work that's been done. Last time I was working on the head, so I finished the head since the last time we talked. So as you can see, this will be the final look for the head. We always have the naked head, as I call it. Badass dude. Like I like to have like switch out options, especially if something is going to be printed afterwards and made as a collectible. So yeah, the drapery around the shoulders is not polished. It's just a little blocking here. But yeah, so this is our character, and this character, seen from afar, is pretty buff. And since he's the angel of protection and the healer, well, I made him wings akin to shields. So giant shield wings compared to Michael, who has the sword wings, since he's the warrior angel and the leader of the gang. Of that being Michael here. So yep. So this character here is of course not posed. It's just a little T-pose for the moment. And yeah, so now the only thing that's really remaining to complete are going to be his wings, which I'm going to work not in that position. I'm going to go back to an orthographic position for that. Let's see what chat says. Miguel, bonsoir à tous. Salut Miguel. Beau petit teaser que vous avez fait. So if I actually encourage everyone that's watching to go check the teaser of the game. What's the name again? Hell is Us. Yeah, Hell is Us, which is a game made by Rogue Factor, which is a company in Montreal, a small studio in Montreal that we worked for in the past. A lot of my friends are working there now, and they've been working on that game, which is probably going to be a really great experience. It's actually visually very interesting, and I actually encourage you all to go check it out. And this is not paid advertisement. I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. Miguel here on the chat actually, I think, well, you worked on the game, right? Not mistaken. First time chat. Tension. How long did this sculpt take? Well, for the moment, it took a little while because I did do some like exploration for the design. But the modeling itself, I mean, I worked only like bits of time here and there. Like cumulatively, my magic answer is always like it takes me about 2 weeks to make a character, 1 to 2 weeks. If I actually could work 8 hours per day uninterrupted, it would actually be pretty much this amount of time. But since I'm the co-founder of an outsourcing studio, and I'm a manager and I'm a family man, I don't get to work full time on my characters. So it took me a little bit longer than that. But cumulatively would be like, yeah, 2 weeks, like 80 hours, let's say. Yeah, that's some stellar work. Thanks. Oh, Mean Goring, Jacob, nice to see you here. Brutal! Thanks, man. Andrew, so damn cool. Thanks. Thank you. Ouais, Miguel, sur Hell is Us. So yeah, no, you should check it out. It's cool. It's really fun to see what like a small studio is able to produce, and plus when you talk about when you check the originality of the designs and everything, I find that's one of the strength. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, all right. So this guy, we won't work on the wings in that angle. I opened the file mainly just to show you the character before I get serious. And by getting serious, I mean working on the wings. So basically, the wing part is going to be worked in orthographic view like this. And you might ask, well, when are they going to be posed like this? Well, I'm going to make the block the orthographic polished version first, and then I'm going to place the wings in in this position. And as you can see, this was what I did is I actually did a kind of like a blocking of like I want the final shape to be for the wings and the position, and then I actually split the mesh into a few parts. Like it's all split in like these parts and whatnot. It was not as detailed. I really did start from like a very basic like shape, and but I did actually place all the joints everywhere that I needed to be. I needed it to be, and so I made sure that like there is really a situation where like I could actually rotate everything along the joints to be placed in that position at the end. So I had to do a bit of work. It took a bit of time. It was like it was a lot of like designing in a sense, but yeah, no, I have that in the end. I think there's probably a version of my file that I can show you the wings from before. I think this one here. SKR, je suis en retard. Salut Marco. Hello. All right, so this is still the blocking before it was posed, but it's not the very early blocking. Trying to find it. Ah, there you go. Okay, so you see, this was actually the first blocking of the wings, and maybe not even the first one. I think the first one was like almost like sculpting just the shape organically to get like an idea of like. But then I started it. I started to split it into like the amount of like pieces that I wanted and how they could rotate to make like that shielding shape basically. And then yeah, I posed it like this. I tried to like pose the shape, make the curves where I needed to have the curves to give like that shape basically. Thanks for the follow. And then I could actually do like a more serious pose, basically, or design, let's say, more serious design, like this. So now that like this is done, I've actually took the wing and placed it in a way that's more like orthographic, so I could benefit of the smart symmetries and stuff like that, and I started to build over my blocking. But also, since I've already done the wing of Michael, well, then I started to actually reuse a few parts just to make sure that there's an echoing of the design between the characters. And the pieces that you see right now are basically all the pieces that was on the design of Michael, which I'm going to be continuing right now. And what's in red? Actually, let me just put everything in red. There we go. What's in red right now is basically the blocking. I'm missing a few parts here. Not this one, not this one. There we go. So you see, what's red is basically like everything that needs to be finished. But my design is here in the blocking, so I just need to make that cleaner. That's it. So let's get rid of a few things. Those are all the symmetrical parts of the wing. Let's remove the perspective. And yeah, so it's just going to be continuing that. As simple as that. West Art 3D. Salut beau maçon. Hello. All right, so let's get into chill mode. And let's start this Sculpt Soirée. The last leg or phalange, however you want to call it, of the wing, the one that's connecting to the back here, this part had to be stretched on the version for Raphael because just because of like the design needed that, and since it was a shorter on Michael, I actually have to do a bit of stretching, and this piece here is actually not working with the stretch. Let me open the wing file for Michael. You know, I kind of feel like I shouldn't say Michael, but like Michael, the name of the angel, because it does sound weird when you say Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel. It's like maybe it should be like Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel. It just sounds like, because the way we say Michael in English, it just sounds so like, you know, like Michael, the guy that works at the corner store. It's like, no, it's Michael, the Archangel. I feel it should be said that way, actually. I might actually start saying it that way just because it has a little zhuzh to it. Anyways, so that's Michael's wing, right? So it's the sword wing. And now I'm making the shield wing. Whoops, I didn't want to load that ZTL. This one. So if you look, you can see that there's actually like a difference in length for the last leg. So that center piece here, I'll need to actually just like figure out like how to stretch part of it and salvage part of it. Sorry, but I have a hiccups right now. Like, I hope it's not like too disgusting with the sound and everything. And if it is, well, I guess call the police. Yeah, so there we go. I'll just make a test. Like, so this is going to be me trying to salvage a piece without having to resculpting it. So I'll save a morph target of this piece. I'll also save a layer. And what I'll do is I'll actually try to kind of like mask part of it, like somewhere where there's no like details or whatever. Or I might actually erase my details and start them again. Is the fabric surface noise or texture? It's actually surface noise. Well, it's like alpha. I just placed alpha on the character. But I actually used the sometimes I use just an alpha, and sometimes I actually use the surface noise with the UVs. So yeah. And I use just the presets that they give me, and I play with it. Like I never like went like super complicated with it. I didn't need it so far. Maybe later. Maybe later I'll need it. So yeah. So for the moment, let's oops. Let's try to like stretch, or maybe move it. Nah, that's not gonna work. I need it to reach. Let me use. I need to delete this. I feel it's only going to be in my way. All right there. Okay. I'll actually leave a screenshot of this here. All right. So basically, this needs to be to reach here. There you go. And I need to actually account for like everything that's like happening in the middle here. So I think that what I will do is I will actually just try to place things here manually and restart all the details that have been stretched, because oops, I need to smooth here a bit. There we go. All right, so let's use move with AccuCurve. So that it moves, but like in a pinched way. Once again, credit to my friend Ferrio Tedeschi for this trick that I've been using and abusing for a long time now. At least I could try to eyeball to have this detail straight, but I could also just like restart it again. Plus, there's like a lot of empty space now that I'm gonna need to account for. So yeah. Try the extender inside the gizmo. I never tried it. I don't necessarily want to try something new tonight, but I will try to keep that in mind, so not to completely ignore the help that you're proposing me. There we go. All right. See at the bottom here, it's pretty disgusting what happened. But since it's not an important part, I might just try to like salvage it. So, okay, let's get the shape looking good. And then I'll do a reprojection, because like now there's a lot of like stretched polygon you see here. So I'll probably gonna want to create myself a new mesh from that. But before I do so, I just want to make sure my lines are parallel. Very important when doing sci-fi, having all those parallel lines. It's a very important attribute of hard surface design. Let's get rid of the details. I'll smooth that out also later. Oops. For the moment, I'm just getting rid of them. I'll polish that later. Get rid of that as well. There we go. The rest of the empty space, I'm going to add stuff in there. And for this here, this has like a very disgusting dip here. Not too sure how I ended up with that. Oh, I think I know. But let's use like the planar brush, and try to get some like something clean here. Hey, thanks for the follow. So you see, even I'm going to destroy all the details here. That I don't mind, but I just want to make sure I don't have like something. You know what? Let's try to use a curve brush here. You see? At least now it's like planar, right? So if I actually restart my details, it'll look clean enough. So There we go. Boom. All right. So basically that is like what I could consider somewhat of a, and that's workable. Okay. In terms of like the general shapes and everything, I'll still need to clean the detail aspects of it. I'll work on that later. All right, so I'm going to want to have a clean mesh now. So, and by mesh, I don't mean the detail. I really mean the topology of it. So let's go and clone this into its own file. And wait, I just saw something. The line here and here is kind of like tapering on the inside. I'm not sure that I want this. I would like to have maybe those two lines be more parallel. So for that, I will mask part of the mesh like this. There we go, mask. I'm going to smooth that out. And I'm actually going to just like stretch all of that. So you see like now this line and this line is a bit more parallel. I'll need to figure out how it connects here correctly. But at least the lines are working. The line is not super straight also, so let's try to... So let's say I just draw myself a curved line. Is it straight enough? Oh, you know what? Not that bad. Not that bad. Here it's not the cleanest, but you know what? It's once again, it's one of those areas that I'm like, it's not going to show enough to really be an issue. It's really not going to be a focus of the character, so always keep that in mind when you're working on something on a character, because sometimes it's easy to get lost in the details and everything. At this point, for some people, I might sound like a broken record about this kind of like stuff, but since we always have new people in these parts, I think it's good to repeat that. Well, plus also, to be honest, even when I was giving those workshops in the school that I New Edge, the school in Paris that I was teaching at before COVID and everything. The one of the things that I was actually doing often was repeating myself, and like at first I was like, I'm like, what kind of like teacher am I that I always repeat myself and that sort of stuff, and like very quickly I realized I was like, oh man, you know what, like there's some stuff that's really worth repeating all the time, because I find that like people are just like not paying enough attention to it, or putting importance into it, and repeating it just like really drives it home like even more. So yeah, sometimes very important to repeat yourself. I've figured out. It's super easy to get sucked into every last bit being clean. Yeah, absolutely, Josh. Repeat away, good sir. I have a thick skull. That's cool. Having a thick skull is a very good thing, a very good defense mechanism for if you live in Mad Max. It'll save your life in a combat situation. All right. Okay, so now let's clone this. Which one's the good one? Okay, that's not the good one. Let's delete it. Let's delete this as well. This is an old thing that I've been carrying. So this guy here, all right, duplicate. So, yeah, there's a lot of like nook and crannies to this model because I actually used ZModeler to make the general shapes and stuff. So now we're gonna lose ZModeler for sure, except if I was to actually keep groups while did remeshing, but it's just going to be kind of like an ordeal. So let's drop that. Plus, I just realized maybe best to separate these. There we go. Now it's separated. You gotta keep them separated. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put on some offspring. Oops. It's been a while. The Offspring. They actually came out with a new album, which is not bad at all, actually. All right. I guess now I separated that piece here. Let's grab this. Also, oops, get rid of the layer. There we go. Duplicate that. Probably start with a. Should I start with a decimation? Should I decimate this? Maybe I should just lower the subdivision, keep things as they are, so it actually adds topology in the nooks and crannies. Let's try 2000. Let's remesh that. They have to hear it 10 times to stick. Yeah, I mean, some theory also is worth repeating 10 times for sure. Hey, thanks for the follow. Polygon Pusher, hello. Hi. My mind just sung that same song in my head. Yeah, exactly. I really have like a super hyperactive like brain, and like the moment that I hear something, I always reference it to like so many things, and often it's like dad jokes or just like the same text or like phrase that I would hear in a song, let's say. So like when somebody says something and they're using like lyrics from a known song, like it's almost like a curse. Like the song starts to play in my head and everything, and it just like loops and loops. So yeah, that's one of the bad things from being a very hyperactively cerebral person. Let's get rid of that because it's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here. All right. It's like finally like feeling like it's spring in Montreal, so that's good. All right. A little bit of neck cracking. I never hurt anyone. It probably did. All right, so there's a little bit of like gray areas here, so I'll probably want my poly paint to grab those. So projection shell. Let's start with like this projection. Let's not project the texture right now. Let's just try to get like a base. So you see in like those tight areas here, it's actually creating stuff that I don't like. So I'll probably need to like polish that. Now that I did like a first pass of projection, polish it and like try to reduce the projection shell and maybe like the projection distance. See, it's still like grabbing a lot of like shit. Like I might actually need to dynamesh this so that I actually don't get this like projection issues. Or what I could do is just do a little quick polish raise another level of subdivision. Try to reduce even more the projection shell. Remove even more of the distance. Projection all. I see it's actually getting not that bad. There's some areas like in the cavities here that's not really reprojecting everything, but I can probably clean that later. So what I'll do is I'll actually push forward with this. I think it's going to be fine. I won't have to dynamesh this before. So I'll polish that, another level of subdivision. And then project all, maybe actually, you know what? Even less distance. That's not much distance now. So you see it kind of like projected things well. And some areas are like not super well projected, but like now that I actually pretty much have everything looking okay, I can actually maybe go like using masks to just like project correctly what was not projected correctly. This is actually something that's very useful when reprojecting heads, I find, because there's so many like nooks and crannies that like you need to like reproject better at the end, especially when you're trying to regain all of that like crispy detail. Right now with like this piece is a little bit easier, but like sometimes it can get a bit tedious when reprojecting heads and stuff. But like if you do it this way, like one massive reprojection and then you reproject like parts at a time, I find it actually works well, especially when it comes to reprojecting around like the lips and that sort of stuff. All right, so let's try to fix those here. A little smooth, get rid of the jagged effect. Like this. Augment a little bit the projection distance. No. You see here it's good now, so let's mask this. And we just need those details here that I could easily just either keep smoothed like this or just redo by hand. So if, like, I'm not going to fight against it if it really doesn't want to project correctly. So let's just try like a couple of values. You see, like, it's probably not going to get better than this. So let's just do like a quick like smooth. And there you go. Let's call that a sculpt. And overall, also, I think that like this mesh is probably heavier than the other one because I'm reprojecting. It's reprojecting the low resolution of my original mesh. If you look at the amount of million polys, I got, well, million polys. This one is like 400,000 and this one is actually 2 million. So you see, there's probably one level of subdivision too high on this model. So instead, if I go to 4, is that too low in resolution? In some areas, it kind of like feels that maybe it's too low. So maybe I'm not going to have a choice and I'm going to need to stay around 2 million for this piece, which is a lot, but I think it might actually be worth it. So to get rid of like the fact that it reprojected on a lower resolution, I'll just add a bit of smooth. No, not really working. I'll do it by hand. Just really quickly and not pressing strongly on the brush just to get rid of like those. There we go. And it doesn't really matter for me if it's like a bit like smoothed. I can always like reproject the details if I figure out that it's like, not reproject, but restart the details if I figure out that it's just too smooth. Little artifacts here. Is it going to be visible? Let's see later. All right. Ooh, I did not reproject my poly paint. Shit. All right, let's store a morph target. Let's try to reproject once again. this time I'm going to tell him to reproject. All right. Project all, and yes to the polypaint this time. Polypaint and material. All right, so now you see we get the details, but like where we actually had like all of those things not really working for us, I can just do a switch projection, and it thanks for the follow, by the way, and it did keep the projection of the color and the materials. So there we go. So there we go. We win. All right. Put that guy here. And now we have salvaged this entire piece. Can delete the old one. So you see now, poof, there we go. We have the equivalent here. Quickly done, all done. I just need to add the detail in the middle. And we're donezo with that section of the wing. Hello, good day to you. Did you use Z-Remesh for the low poly? Yeah, this time I did. But the original mesh was done with ZModeler. This one is under Z-Remesh. You see, this one was ZModeler, actually. I just created myself a simple mesh. Hey, hey, Rat Lord. Yep, I can't watch. I'll be here for support. Yeah! Well, you know what, Rat Lord? I'll take all the support that you send my way. This is very appreciated. Spiritual support. So yeah, there you go. At that piece. Of course, that blue part here is going to be red in the end. But also, I think it's going to be hidden because like this character has the it's like armored around this area of the wing. So yeah. So yeah, all right. So let's just add what I was not able to make first. All right. So I'm basically going to reuse the same visual language that I actually had here, especially when it comes to like the bigger parts and stuff. First, I'll just fix all the in the connection parts that were maybe a bit not really well adapted. You see, like around this like section here where it like connects with the mesh. I think that like in my original in the wings design, it was no, it was not really accounted for anyway. Well, it's kind of like a bit, but no. Okay, that's actually something I forgot to do on the wing for the other one. You know what? I'll do it on this one here. So I have my layer, just in case I do something and I don't like it. I can go back. So let's use trim hole, kind of like create a. Oops, there we go. Like a hole where like everything connects here. Hey, thanks for the follow. There we go. Perfecto. And for this rotation part, I'll actually just like create like a false like cavity around this here. It'll fake the effect pretty well. Whoop, there we go. Actually, you know what? I'll get rid of that little like that little part here. Oh, weird. It's really kind of like pinching things. That's gross. You. There we go. Good job. All right. Let's connect. All right. Column art. Are there any books or resources you'd recommend to learn how to sculpt mechanical parts like this? I don't know. I mean, I kind of like learned just by looking at references, like real life references or like artist interpretation of things. So that would probably be like my the tip that I would give since it's the one that I actually like followed. But there's I don't know. There's probably some good like, but I mean, it's like you can easily like start to go into like engineering and stuff, and it can get pretty heavy, right? So it's really like it depends on like how deep you want to go with things. But there are some like very interesting like image resources that you can actually like use and just like check how things are and just like try to have a sense of like what kind of like visual design represents like a subject or an era, that sort of stuff, and try to use in your advantage because I find that like what's really important is just to make like a choice. Like not everybody's an engineer, so like you don't always need to have things really work perfectly. Like at the end of the day, you're kind of like selling like an illusion, right? So I think that like what's really important is just to make choices that will reflect correctly on, like I said, maybe like the era of technology that you're trying to convey, or like the type of technology in the sense of like, for example, like Warhammer and like Portal are two extremely different styles of sci-fi, of hard surface and whatnot, right? So depending on like what you're doing, like you have to ask yourself like, okay, well, my character, in what year was he built? Um, like what kind of like technology, what kind of budget that they have, that sort of stuff, right? And I find that like if you actually like make those this basic research, it'll really help like a lot with like the general vibe of things, and it will resonate with people uh, automatically. And for me, this is the important part. Like the moment that I can actually sell this idea, I'm fine with it because like I'm not working for Boston Dynamics, so I don't necessarily feel that I need to actually be like extremely accurate. I just want things to look cool in the end. Hey, thanks for the follow. You're watching the best resource right here, homie. Thanks. I appreciate that. Sigburst. Hey, Marco. Hey, Sigburst. Do you use alpha or IMM brushes? If yes, how much of your detailing includes those? Well, I use alphas. Yeah, I just loaded my library of alphas for this project, so I handpicked a couple of them that I think would actually fit well with my style, and I'm going to be using alphas oops, to decorate the character here. Hey, thanks for the follow. Just have some like basic detailing. And the choice of my alphas are really based on like experimentation. And then like when I find something that I like, I tend to repeat it afterwards. So yeah, just like and I'm really into like little like accent detailing, accent line work detailing. Like I really like those. So, all right, the underneath part is done. Perfect. So according to the design here, now I have to add this section here like this. Probably making it like I guess long like this. Halfway, 3/4. Yeah, something like that. So I'll start by adding the round section here, like this, and then I'll try to like eyeball, have it straight like this, and I'll go into rectangular selection, do the rest of the capsule shape. See, there we go. Good enough. A little bit of blurring and sharpening. Blur a bit more because I want the extrusion to be kind of soft. Something like that. Yeah, it feels kind of similar. When you're satisfied, your low Z remesh and already did the crease and dynamic subdivision. Did you apply the dynamic subdivision level and after that sculpt on a simple sub D on level 2? Well, I have to reread that. Oh my god. Okay. When you're satisfied of your low Z remesh and already did the crease and dynamic subdivide, do apply the dynamic subdivision level, and after that, sculpt on a simple sub-D on level 2 or 3. Well, I mean, the level 2 or 3 really depends because, like, for example, like this guy here, that was my Z remesh piece. Like, it got soft after I subdivided it, but basically, thanks for the follow. I actually used Z remesh to just like create kind of like the general shape of things. Like I said, it looked more hard surface and straighter, but whatever. And when I was done, I actually applied subdivision until I got the amount of resolution that I needed for that piece. And I put the detail on it afterwards, like this. It's probably going to be fine enough. All right, let's put the little remaining details. I had kind of like this thing here. I had this indent detail here. Maybe not as strong as that. It was kind of like a soft indent. A bit straighter though. Yeah, there we go, like this. And I had I just realized here it's not super clean. Oh, there we go. Just a smooth was did the trick. Did it do the trick? Really? So I just want this shape to really like that. And now when I smooth, it does look more straight. So sometimes if I want to actually do like a curved corner, I'll just make a hard corner and then I'll just smooth it afterwards, because the hard corner is like a little bit more easier to get like the planes correct, and then like I just curve in between the planes. There we go. Now I can go back to adding these like lip details, which I'll add 2 here like this instead of 1 to justify the stretch. Get those half capsule detail afterwards. It might be a bit too much micro detail here. Now the question is it too empty in this area? And I could maybe add just a simple thing. It's probably enough. All right, let's call it that for the moment. I'm actually going to collapse my layer because I feel confident I can just erase the details by hand if I need to erase them. And I know that on the top part here, there's some detail missing because the original wing did have, so you see, like this kind of like detail, like this part here. Let's get that back. Just a simple cavity detail, nothing really complicated. Maybe a bit too far. Okay, not bad. Let's do a curved corner. There you go. Boom, like this. Curved corner here as well. All right. Add like a little alpha right there. Maybe a bit too strong. So this is a little tip I can give to people. Always try to actually judge what's really the intensity of the detail that you need, because I feel that sometimes some details are just like really not deep enough and not readable. And on the other end, some others like are so deep that they're really attracting the attention. Like the deeper a detail is, the more there's going to be like shadow and like different contrast and planes, and it's going to really attract the attention. And sometimes it's not what you want. So just something to be careful, the strength of your alphas and such. There we go. All right, so let's get rid of the screenshots and everything. This is a good portion of the wings already finished, so that's good. Let's save. Okay, makes sense. Thank you. No worries. How much resolution do I need for alpha to work correctly or come out clean? Well, that's you need to test. You just subdivide if it's not enough, and the amount of like resolution that you need. I'd say that like really study how far or close you're going to make the final renders, because like if you know you're not going to actually like show like really close of the face and stuff or close of the body parts, maybe you don't need to subdivide that much because you're just going to make your scene heavy for nothing. Substance 3D Modeler open beta is coming this month. Will you try it in VR? I can't really play with my VR. It's not connected. Plus, I got rid of the computer that I was using for the VR. So I'm not really set up, so I won't be able to try actually. But it does look very interesting. So once that I actually rebuild my basement and have an area for my VR there, I might actually like try it. All right, we're good, we're good, we're good. Always feels good when I can delete a blocking mesh, knowing that I actually now have my final mesh. So clicking on that delete button right there was what felt really good. Really good. All right, so now we're into new territory. Also, there's like something here that like already I know doesn't work, like this connection of like those pivot with like the cylinder here. Like that I'll need to rework. Let's check right now if I can salvage this here. Just by removing this, it already makes a bit more sense. So this was the entire joint part. Let's separate this. Let's also separate this. I'll probably get rid of some of the mesh that I will not be seen anyway. Like this entire thing here. Let's see. So all of that here is actually completely useless. Except if I place it somewhere else on the model. So I might actually just separate it, but not delete it. Those I need to keep. So like this little piece here, I'll just put it like at the top here, invisible. There you go. So now what do I do with you? What do I do with you? Is there like a part I can... I kind of have an idea of like what I'm going to do for this section here. I might actually need to work on... Yeah. I'll just probably go once again, the illusionary route. I extrude this part here. And this, I'm actually going to rotate it on itself. Recreations. Hey, what's up? Busto, would sculpting be better than polygon modeling for hard surface like guns? Well, I mean, I like to do my guns in ZBrush anyway, but I think for like really precise, very precise first-person shooter guns and stuff, it's such like a thing that is like blueprint-y, for lack of a better word, right? That I find it like there's like a certain like slickness and precision, and also I find that like guns are more something that like are it's the kind of prop that you want to look at it and like turn around and appreciate all like the complexity and like precision of the shape. So like I guess it's kind of like maybe at this point easier to do in poly modeling and that sort of stuff. That's what I would guess. Bonjour, bonjour. How many years in training in order to be able to model something like this? Well, I've been doing 3D for like, what, 12 years or something now, so takes a while for sure. All right, so this is going to be okay for a moment like this. This part will be hiding here. I'll do a little test here. I'm going to try to actually be a bit lazy. And see if I actually do this here. Can I manage to actually have... You see, it doesn't really work well. I think I'm going to have to kind of like create like some like mesh that kind of like hides the interconnection here, because I don't want to have to work on really how those two things will actually connect with each other. And the cylinder here, so maybe I can just like hide it with that part here actually. It's kind of a weird shape, but no, that's fine. See, and for me, like, the illusion will be sold with that, so I'm fine. All right, so this is another piece I can start working on. Just making it a little bit more planar here. There you go. And this part is going to go in. There we go. Oh, actually, let's reconnect those two pieces together. Let's reproject subdivision. And there we go. All right. So this piece is a bit noisy. I just hope that it's not going to be too distracting later on. So let's keep an eye on that, just in case. I'm actually wondering if it could be maybe better centered, because like this joint piece, I'm going to need to use I'm going to want it to actually rotate really well when I do rotate it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to kind of like get rid of the yeah, and I'm actually going to keep this mesh here that I know is cleaner, because this mesh will help me to actually be able to click on the center here and actually use this as an axe of rotation really more easily. Plus it does have like the details here the way that I need them. All right. With that being said, I'm going to reconstruct some. Oh, I can't. Can I? Oof. Not super. Hmm. Huh. Oh, it's not really clean. I might actually want to actually recreate a clean cylinder. Whenever I knew that a cylinder will actually be used to make a rotation later, I actually want it to be much cleaner than that. Mm. There you go. This way it's a little bit easier to center. There you go. All right, so that piece is clean. All right, so it's going to start to make a little bit more sense very soon. All right, let's read a little bit of the chat while I save. Watching you are working ZBrush is a killer way more than polymodeling. Well, I prefer it. It's my preferred method. So yes, I'll vouch for that for sure. In general, when in doubt, shove it under a rug. Albert Einstein. Yeah. You have so many subtools. Is it to work freely without affecting others? Sometimes I'll split them separately and remerge them afterwards. I just have to be conscientious that if you do those actions like willy-nilly, you have to not use layers and stuff like that because you will lose your layers for sure. So whenever I do actions like this, it's because I know that I'm ready to commit for like the changes that I'm doing. Otherwise, if you're actually starting to use layers because you're experimenting, just know that like you're restricted into splitting and remerging subtools together as you wish. Do you have a special strategy for your health when you're so busy? How could get over the tough schedule? Well, I mean, I go to the gym. I force myself to go to the gym so that and the reason why I go to the gym is mainly because like most of my day I'm like hunched forward with my shoulders like forward like this and working, and it's when I go to the gym I basically do a lot of back exercise so that like it kind of like stretches my back uh, backwards, for lack of a better word, and it's kind of like to kind of like counteract my posture. So this way, I end up having like no back pain. I'm actually pretty good. I have zero back pain. When I was a musician, I was actually having back pain because of the position of holding the guitar. But I'm actually, and I found a nice way to actually have my Cintiq, so that like I'm not like too forward anyway. So it really does help. And the only part that really like hurts is my shoulder, but it's been a while that it actually really hurts, and I realized that my pain was mainly because of stress. So when I'm really stressed, I tend to like clench my shoulder, and it ends up hurting. But if I don't, I'm pretty good actually. So I just have to be careful with my stress, and going to the gym is very good to manage your stress actually. So I recommend doing an exercise, and that can help a lot for sure to counterbalance everything, right? Free hanging, dead hangs, good for people who sit down all day. Dead hangs, uh, is it basically just doing a chin up without doing the chin up? Or I actually don't know that term. Hey, thanks for the follow. Um, Free hanging dead hands. Yep. Sit down all day, exactly that. Yeah, just holding the bar hanging, holding as long as possible, 3-4 sets. Also, feet on the floor, hands on bar, and leaning stomach forward, so your forward arced. Massively helps stomach and back pains was getting. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's really good to know, actually. Really good to know. Mikael Yang, been a little quiet. I thought my connection is dead. Yeah, no, sorry. I was a bit into like some like design, just thoughts. Nothing too serious, but like I do tend to become like quiet sometimes for those things. Yeah, not the best entertainment for sure in those moments, but hey, you know what? I mean, in these times, it's the perfect time um, let people know that if they have questions, to please do not hesitate to shoot me a question. Especially, I love questions that don't have to do in 3D, just about like random things. So don't hesitate to ask away. Hey, no problem. I love that people actually are working in the same time as me, so it's very good to know. So this is going to be good enough for the joint, at least for the moment. And you see, the way that I'm working is that like when I start doing one thing and I get like the flow of it, sometimes I'll try to complete everything that has to do with that on the character or the part that I'm working on. So like right now I'm working on like internal rig things compared to the outer white armored part. So I might actually like work on like most of like the rig parts here. Also, I realized that like some parts of like what I did is already pretty much like at the polished stage. Like this thing here. Yeah, I don't know that I'll be adding detail to that. Maybe some smaller details. Hmm. Actually, maybe I'll do some minor revisiting of the design aspects of this part. Hey, thanks for the follow. Like those like circles there, maybe they don't fit the style quite well. What are my 5 favorite drinks? Oof. Drinks. Okay. Can you define drink? Like, are you talking about like alcoholic drinks or like just drinks, like anything that I can drink, basically? Anything. All right. Um, my 5 favorite drinks. Okay. This is a hard question. Well, what's hard about this question is that there are things that I do not drink because they would just kill me. And by that, I mean, like, there's just like, I just love them too much, and I would ruin my life drinking them. Um, like, for example, like root beer. Like, I love root beer, but it's just like, it's I would die if I drink like too much like root beer. So it's not something that's like really like in the question. But it is something that I like for sure. Now, would I put it in the top 5? I am not sure. Let's think about it. Um, and I guess that like I'm not going to go into specifics. Like for example, if I say like kombucha, probably I'll just like leave it to kombucha and not go into like flavors of kombucha. Otherwise, like it pretty much like fills the list pretty fast. So, um, so yeah, I mean, okay, so in the top 5, there will be kombucha. That's for sure. Um, for those who don't know what kombucha is, it's like fermented tea. It's fermented with mushrooms. It sounds absolutely disgusting when I actually like explain it that way. But it's pretty good. It's like fizzy flavored drink, basically, and I like it. I like it. And the good thing about kombucha also is that it's like it's not really caloric. So like for example, like drinking like a huge like 1 liter of kombucha is like a bit less calorie than drinking one like can of like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, basically. Um, so that's actually like a really interesting like aspect of it. So that I like. I like kombucha for that. So kombucha will be in the list for sure. Um, otherwise, if we go to like alcohols and stuff like that, um, and like I said, I'm not going to go into specifics and stuff because I could actually just like give you my top 5 of like favorite beers or types of beers and stuff. So I'll just like leave it to like beer in general, and I would probably say that beer is my number 1. Um, having like I just find that it's like the kind of drinks that like suits the most situation. Just like a little light beer when you don't want to have a buzz, like or a good strong beer when you're actually um, when you want to savor it or whatever. So yeah, beer's up there for sure. And just for the sake of it, you know what? Actually, I'll pick one, 5 different categories of drinks, and I'll mention my favorite one in each. There you go. That's how I'll proceed. So for the kombucha, it's actually jasmine and lychee flavored kombucha. That's my favorite. For the beer, it's going to be the Imperial Russian Stout. That's my favorite kind of beer. My favorite beer ever is actually not an Imperial Russian Stout. It's an Imperial coffee stout. But in general, I find that like Imperial Russian stouts are the best. So that's for beer, kombucha. Another one of my favorite drinks is whiskey. And for the whiskey, I'm not really a connoisseur of that though. That's the thing. I really like it. I love it, but I'm not a connoisseur. But I remember that like I think there's like one that's called Macallan, which is like a smoky whiskey, and it's really fucking good. It's really good. It's been a while that I bought whiskey actually. I think I should actually go buy myself another bottle. Like right now, well these days I'm drinking bourbon, which is fantastic. Bourbon's pretty good, but whiskey is better, I find. Another drink that's pretty good is Metaxos. It's if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Metaxos. It's a Greek brandy. It's really fucking good. Really good. I love it. Um, otherwise, you know what? Just for like nostalgia, I think I have to say a raspberry flavored quick. So like quick, you put it like in milk to make chocolate milk, but the raspberry flavored kind. I remember like just being a sucker for that when I was younger. Really loving it. I guess that I need to put it in. I don't know. Maybe. Otherwise, there's wine for sure. A good red wine. A good I like French and Italian wine mostly. Like something really like heavy and woody or whatever. Um, like Bordeaux, for example, is like an easy win. Um, yeah, Bordeaux's a easy win for sure. There's some California wine that I actually like. So what did I say so far? There was a lot of alcoholic drinking there. Um, whiskey's in there for sure. Beer is in there. Kombucha, whiskey, beer, kombucha, wine. That's four. And you know what? Just to not make things too complicated, I'll actually go with the quick, the raspberry quick, chocolate milk, the nostalgic choice. I think I'll go for that. So now the order. Um, beers first, then whiskey, wine, kombucha, and um, the raspberry quick, which I realize now makes me look like an alcoholic to say that. That's fine. All right, that was good. That was good. That was a good question, actually. I actually don't like root beer, but I like Dandelion Budrock. That is interesting. I do not know what it is, so I guess that I will need to try it one day. It does feel like it would taste somewhat similar if you're talking about something that has like this like flowery element, because that's what like root beer is, right? It's like root stuff and like a couple of like things mixed in, a bit like Jagermeister. How about energy drinks with caffeine? Um, I I like coffee. I drink it every day, but it does not bring me like the same satisfaction. Let's say I actually do like the Tim Horton coffee, but it's like it's the kind of stuff that I like, and I know that I don't really have a good reason to like it. And what I mean by that is that I know that I like it just because it's full of like cream and sugar, and I find that it's not really like legitimate. Let's say it's just because it's like it's easy, right? Like just because you've put like full of salt and cream in like a meal, it doesn't mean that it's like a good meal necessarily. It's just addictive. Kombucha is also alcoholic. Not really. You there are kombuchas that have 0% alcohol. I mean, or like zero point 0.1, like not even zero point 0.1, just a very low level, just enough for the fermentation. Thanks for the follow. Uh, old boy sweets that were cough medicine. Yeah, I kind of like. I kind of like the cough medicine taste, so yeah, I think I would actually like it. Dandelion and burdock. Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Now you make me wanna try that. What am I sculpting? I am sculpting the wing part of a complex character that I will show you this instant. It's loading. It's loading. Taking a while. It's a big file. All right, there you go. So this knight character, sci-fi knight character, it's part of a series of Archangels. And right now I'm working on the wings part, but I'm working on it in an orthographic view in order to be able to place it afterwards. How long have you been working on that? It's beautiful. Thank you, thank you. I've been working on it for a little while now. Yep, for a little while. It's a long project because there's like 3 of them. This is another one of them. Archangel Michael. And right now I'm working on Archangel Raphael. So you're a freelancer or a full-time guy? Because it's really hard to spend time working when you have a girlfriend. Um, well, I'm the co-founder of Chaos Masons, an outsourcing company. So I manage a team of many artists. This is my day job. when I get the time during my day job, I work on personal projects like those. At night, I'm a family man. I'm a father taking care of like my kid and my family and stuff. And when they go to bed at night, instead of sleeping, well, I come back here and I start working on my personal projects again. Are you doing all four archangels? I'm going to do the three main archangels. Um, I did do the design for Uriel, the fourth one, but I decided to actually focus on like a trifecta instead, like three of them. I found that the fourth one was starting to get a bit like redundant, so I thought that it was actually like maybe stronger to keep like this three main ones, right? Although like I found that I had a good idea with Uriel, but it did feel like a little bit like extra, too extra. I have trouble finishing one project, and here you're making three. Yeah, that's just how I am. I'm pretty crazy with like my projects and stuff. Plus, I'm playing Elden Rings also, which is taking a lot of my time. This is absolutely magnificent. I'm currently learning 3D and watching the sky intimidates me. Don't let it intimidate you, man. It man or woman, sorry. It should actually serve as a source of inspiration mostly because like this is something you can get there, right? Like it's doable. Like I'm doing it right now. It's just a question of like learning the technique and learning what you want to do as well, for sure. That's the most important part. What do you want to do? And trying to define your style and your technique and what you feel comfortable with, etc., etc. So yeah, I'd say this is the most important. So don't let it intimidate you. I like to think that like what I can do for people is to inspire and encourage people to like go forward and stuff. So all I can tell you is go for it, put the time, make sure it's your passion, and things will come naturally, just with time and practice. There's no wizardry in that. Absolutely no wizardry. Yeah, yeah, rub it in. It's my reality. Um, Kester, inspiring words. Oh well, cool. There we go. Perfect. If there's one thing that I can do for people, I'd rather be that for sure. I have no intentions of standing in the way of people's passion and motivation. I'd rather be an energy source if I can. Which is why actually I do those streams at the end of the day. Because if there was no benefit to the people for doing that, I would just like not do it. I actually didn't do the stream for the longest time, thinking that like people wouldn't be really that interested to just like see me work because it can be long and tedious and everything, right? So I kind of like hesitated for those reasons, and I'm happy that like my friend who kind of like pushed me to do it did continue to push me until like I finally succumbed and did it because you know what, in the end I'm super happy of doing it. Plus I love when people ask me stuff like what's my five favorite drinks. So there you go. I get a little bit. There's a reality. It's a reality that I like to monologue and talk and that sort of stuff. Um, so when people humor me by asking me questions like that, it always pleases me. See, my shoulder's starting to hurt a little bit. I have to stretch it a bit. Have you slept enough all the time? I think all the character you showed seem to need much time to work. Well, I sleep like 6 hours per day almost. Like no, you know what? Most of the time it's like around 7. Recently, because of Elden Ring, because I want to put in some Elden Ring time, it's more around the 6 hours, really. But normally it's like at least 7. But the thing is that I really don't do much else these days other than what the fuck is happening here? Whoa. There is a problem with that mesh. Okay, how much? Wow. Okay, I think that everything is crushed on itself, so I'll actually try to salvage that by doing a little inflate. Maybe that I'll delete actually this part here. Ah, fuck you. Come on. Getting there, getting there. Okay. Okay, it feels like that now my mesh is watertight. So yeah, no, yeah. Normally I sleep. I try to sleep around 7 hours per night. These days more like 6. And sometimes when I just get too fucking crazy at Elden Ring, I did a couple of like 5 hours a night. But like those, like I can't do that. Like after like 2 in a row, like 3 in a row, like I just get like I'm completely malfunction. And my girlfriend actually, my wife, she's in reality she's my fiance. I just always end up calling her my wife or my fiance, my wife or my girlfriend. Anyways, the mother of my kid, um, she she actually sleeps much more than me. So you see, like it's everybody has like different needs and whatnot. And she was actually like recently telling me like, "Hi, I don't know how you do to actually um, not sleep and still like function because she sleeps like most of the time 8 to 9 hours." Um, and also, I mean, it's fair. She takes care of most of the time of the kid, so she has a much more exhausting job than mine because running after a 2 years old. He's not 2 yet, but basically he's 2 years old. Um, it can get pretty exhausting. So whereas like I sit at my computer and like I'm using a lot of my brain, right? That's the part that's actually like burning at the end of the day. But yeah, she was asking me like, oh, how do I do and stuff, and I think one of the biggest thing about like living without really sleeping too much is that you kind of like have to build that muscle. And also you can't do anything that's like too stressful because like you're gonna like kill yourself. Like um the way that I'm working, I'm doing things that I really love and that are like in some way more like relaxing. So like I can't actually work on them without stressing me or without making it like unhealthy. But when you're working at something that like you don't really like, that doesn't motivate you or whatever, like not sleeping can probably like become like, well, working can become a source of stress. And if you're actually swapping not sleeping for stressing out, then it's not good. Me, I'm swapping not sleeping for like doing my passion. So like I feel like healthy, at least mentally. But no, absolutely, it's a muscle that you have to practice, like to be able to find your second wind at night and keep on trucking, and yeah. So you kind of like have to practice it. Like at first you get tired, but you try to just like find like a motivation, and I don't know. I mean, I guess that's really the advice that I would have. How long you've been a 3D artist? 12 years. Too thin. Oh yeah, it's just the mesh was like when I dynameshed, it just like was kind of like creating like it was like interpenetrating with itself, so it was not really working well. NGL, the detail actually looks good. The fucked up inflate mesh, not the protection, just the happy accident. Okay, I see what you mean. I need my 8 hours sleep every day. Well, there you go. That's simply how we're configured and everything. I mean, if sleeping 8 hours for you makes you in a better mood and happier overall, it's absolutely something that like you need to continue doing. Me, um, I realized with time that I needed to produce more than to sleep. Otherwise, um, my not my mental health, but like my mood was like strongly affected. Whereas like if I'm tired, like I'm not like in a bad mood or anything. It's actually worse if I actually don't get to work or entertain myself, or I don't know. But also I have like passes where like sorry, I have like passes where I tend to sleep more. Like sometimes like after a couple of projects, I'll just like I'll just like prioritize sleeping for like a few weeks or whatever, and then I get back to it. Like what's really heavy right now, like I said before, is the fact that I'm kind of like trying to cram in Elden Ring at the same time that I'm working on 2, 3 projects. That's the real killer right now. When I worked in VFX company, I almost couldn't sleep. I really wanted to run away from that reality, although it was my job, a job I really loved. Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, if you feel like you're stressed to finish something or whatever, not sleeping can really kill you because um, to be able to avoid stress, you kind of like need to sleep. So yeah, thanks for the follow. Marco, it was great sculpting with you. I always pick up some new knowledge. It's time for me to go to sleep. Take care. Well, Tetsuo, that was great to see you here once again, and I hope you'll be back soon enough. Take care. You have to take care of yourself. No one else will. Yeah, well said. Well said. Then you have to be able also to set your boundaries. That's one really important thing because yeah, people are like, if you don't set your boundaries, people are just like naturally going to assume that like things are working well for you, and so yeah, you have to first know yourself and then make sure that like your time or your needs are respected. Filio, I switched to video games and found myself a company that values the mental health of their employees. Yeah, there you go. Good for you, Kos. Really good for you. That's an important thing. Also, I really heard often in VFX that like people are grinding a lot, whereas like in video games, productions are so long that like if you grind, it's probably like closer to the end, at least from my experience. But yeah, VFX feels like the kind of like place where like everything is always like a rush. Hmm. What happened to the mesh here? I'm making my profile to switch to video games. Find myself too. Good. Yeah, maybe that's the solution. Thanks for the follow, by the way. I want to work in video game as well. I just want to do a few more pieces in my portfolio before I start applying everywhere. Yeah, there we go. The more pieces you have in your portfolio, the better it is to get hired, for sure. Which video game company did you work with? I know I would love to work with Santa Monica Studio. This would be a dream come true. Santa Monica would be pretty rad, I find. That would be cool to work there for sure. If I was in a situation where I didn't have like a company to handle and I was just like an artist and like I would like and well I mean it means I would need to also move for sure. I was in a situation where I could move and all that stuff. Yeah, I would definitely check with Santa Monica. That could be pretty fun. Um, Or, you know what? I think I would have like a really shit ton of fun if I actually worked for id Software on the whatever next Doom game. Um, I think that would be pretty cool as well. Because I heard that there's some companies it's hard to work with them, or sometimes there's even like companies that I'm like, oh, I don't like, I love the game, but I'm just not sure if I would actually love working for them. But I kind of like have a feeling like id Software could be pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I'm working in Quebec City for Gearbox Studio. Ah, cool. There you go. I have a few friends that are working at Gearbox in Quebec. Um, so yeah, which company that I worked for? My first company was THQ North. And right before it closed, I actually moved to BioWare Montreal, and that was fun. It was really great. I had a really good time there. I didn't stay there long though because like another opportunity actually came up, something that I just couldn't refuse to work on a pretty unique game, and I needed to actually like make a hard decision, and so yeah, I actually went to go work for ADOS on a secret project that never saw the light of day. Very sad. And then they moved me on. They moved me on. They moved me on Deus Ex, which was fine, but it was the end of the production, so it wasn't like I wasn't really like doing like the most fun things right on the project. It was a nice team though. I appreciated being there as well. But after a while, I was like, you know what? I kind of like want to stop being in like projects that get canceled and all that jazz. So I actually decided to create my own outsourcing company in order to be able to touch a little bit of everything. Plus, I really love the versatility of things, trying new things. So that was one of my motivation to start the company with Cedric. And with Chaos Masons, with my outsourcing studio, we did work on like so many fucking games, and like there are so many games that we're working on right now that like we won't be able to talk about it for like years. Like really insane, cool projects. Um, yeah, one day I'll be able to talk about it. Is there a third party or watchdog ranking of studios for valuing mental health and stuff? Is there a third party or watchdog ranking? I don't know that. Don't know about that. I think it's more like here to like hearsay, I guess. Like having like the word come around and stuff. I actually thought Gus Mason had some influence in the Doom Guy character. Very shared aesthetic going on. Well, when I saw the Doom Guy, it did really resonate with me quite a lot. To say that I had influence on that, I really don't think so. But hey, if I learned that it was the case, it would make me a happy Marco for sure. Really liked. I really liked Doom. Just as like a game for the sake of a game. That was a great fucking game. Like the two new ones. Man, I had a lot of fun. Those I cannot reconstruct Subdivision. I'll probably need to reproject at some point, so it's not too heavy. Hey, thanks for the follow. Can you elaborate on the training to sleep less? Will you just be tired? Well, I mean, it's it's really more something of like just like pushing through it. So um like I've never really like thought of like the details of that. I could try actually. I could try to come up with an answer for sure. But it's just to say that like it really just like happened to me because I kept like doing it, and like sometimes I find myself like tired when I'm like, oh, you know what? I know like I know like my body's telling me that I'm tired, but my motivation is extremely high. So I just like I was just like too like passionated to actually go to sleep, and like I wanted to work on my thing, and then like a few like minutes, like not a few but like some minutes later, I just realized like, oh, okay, I actually don't feel tired anymore. So like I've learned that there's like always like a second wind. Well, not always, like sometimes you're just like way too tired and your body's just like, no, you need to go to sleep, like, or else like you'll die. um but if you just like feel that you're tired, I find that like there's like a way to just like find a second win. And like I said, it's basically just like by like just trying it and try to like push yourself, and push yourself means also finding something that really does passionate you to keep you awake, right? So you do need to have like this like element that motivates you, or else you won't find the second wind. All right. Well, you know what? I think I'm pretty done. I'm pretty much done for tonight because I did all those pieces. Probably tomorrow I'm going to be working on like those tubes here. Maybe reusing some tubes that I have already. It's not really worth it to just create like a new tube for like a complex piece like this one that's made of like many elements. Like those two like bumper protective parts here also are going to be duplicated for sure. Some things make less sense, like this like element here. I'm probably going to replace it because it's kind of like a bit nowhere. Overall I think that's going to be is going to be it for this thing right here. I was able to do a few things there, so that's cool. Eventually it's going to look like this amount of complexity. And I'll be able to add it on this character here. Oops. I'm really looking forward to actually pose this character as well. That's going to be cool. That's going to be cool. All right. Yeah, mind over body. That's kind of like the idea, because but also everything is like everything is in a balance, right? Like at some point, like you're just going to be like way too tired to even keep your eyes open to work. But what I mean is that like when you feel that you're tired, before you actually have like the signs of like your eyes not being able to stay open, uh there's still like some space for the second wind basically. But at the same time, you know, I say that and we're all different, so I can't really like push that theory too much. We don't have the same like body, this and that, but like at least I can give some like guidance that like if like for me at least, if I find something interesting to do, like I don't want to go to sleep. And I just have to find really what's the amount of hours per night that really does let me like go through a good couple of like days with that same rhythm before I just have like a really full night, fuller night, if I could say. But yeah, so that's the thing. One, you need to actually find something that passionates you, that you just like feel it's like going to be energizing to work on because you're so passionate. Second, you have to understand that like when your body tells you like, hey, it's time to go to sleep, like there's some space for like a second wind if you're really passionate and stuff, or you found something you want to do. And the third thing is the counterbalance of what I said is like if your body is just like your eyes are falling, like you're falling asleep and everything, well then no, you need to go to sleep. Plus also like I suggest like not using any caffeine. Just try to do that with like your body naturally, because if you're trying to push you using like caffeine and stuff, you might be kind of like lying to your body, I find. Like I do drink coffee during the day as like it's more like an habit, to be honest. But I do think that like it needs to be somewhat natural in order to be to stay healthy, because the idea is that it's not really a healthy thing to want to stay awake, right? I guess. I don't know. Um, but a way to make sure that like you stay healthy and that, like I said, is maybe not use any like enhancers, let's say. Uh, show me your motivation. That's good. Show me your motivation. Also streaming tomorrow. No, tomorrow I actually have a meeting, a late meeting, and I can't stream. That dude is here for business. Oh yeah, that guy, Raphael. He's not fucking around. And yeah, also caffeine will crash you in the long run. Yeah, it kind of like doesn't help. It's better to just like stay just like standard. I found going to bed earlier and waking up earlier was healthier and actually gives you more time in the day. Absolutely. If you're a morning person, it's absolutely something you should consider doing. Me, because of like the way that like my company is set up, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up and I have to manage my company. I don't really get to have time for myself at all. So I've found that at night, I actually have like less people that need me, and because of that I actually get to really be in my bubble and work on my things like faster. Actually, even if I'm less energized, I actually have not all the distraction of like during the day, so it works better for me. What if that character is dope? Hey, thank you. Thanks for the comment. If you want to see more of that character, just join in my next streams and whatnot. And also, I haven't really said it, but like for anybody that's interested to know more about like me and my company, there's the links at the bottom here. You can visit them and check my like here at the bottom is like my company, and here is my personal stuff. A lot of it is like intertwined, but yeah, you can check our things. We have a lot of social medias, we have tutorials, we have like merch, either like tutorial or like statues that we're selling. We have yeah, we have all the social medias. We post news there, and you can also see like what my company is actually doing in terms of what are the projects we're working on and that sort of stuff. So all the good stuff is there for people that want to know. So yeah, yeah, it's yeah, it's pretty cool. I love doing that. So also I have like this character that I mean to start soon. I'm just like I feel that I'm not like fully prepared, but like I'm almost getting there. And it's I'm gonna be working on this like medieval version of Frog. Well, this Elden Ring version of Frog from Chrono Trigger. This is going to be one of my next project. So I did this little like concept art here. Normally I would concept in 3D, but like this time I just did a little doodle in 2D. And yeah, it's going to be probably my next one of my next project. One of the next projects. I always like to work on many things at the same time. So yeah, exactly. Perfect. Let's go raid somebody that's online. See, Rat Lord's online. Let's go for it. Oops. I made a mistake in. Yeah, 2 hours and a half just fly by for sure. There we go. Jesus, I keep making mistakes. Hey, thanks for all the follows, by the way. It's really appreciated. Come on. Stop making mistakes. I got it now? No, I don't get it. That should be good. There we go. Finally, there we go. My rate is working. All right. Banui, yes. I can't wait to see your next stream, Banui. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for everyone joining in. That was absolutely fantastic. Once again, I'm happy to be working on a new character right now on this Archangel character. So yeah, next stream maybe this guy, maybe the other project. I don't know. I'm just gonna wing it. So once again, thanks for joining the Sculpt Soirée, and I wish you a good night. All right, take care, everyone.